What can you tell us about Sheldrick Redwine?
Yeah, we're excited to add him, be a new addition to the organization. He was a local kid from Miami, played at the University of Miami. He was a 2.5-year starter. Came in to the University of Miami as a corner, and then converted over to safety. And it's just like we said, it's a great opportunity. This is where the scouting department makes a football team. Second day of the draft.
More of a strong safety than a free safety?
The one thing about Sheldrick is he gives you flexibility. He can play high or low. So there's some flexibility in the scheme and what we can do with him.
Guys, you're looking for more now. These versatile kind of plug them anywhere you need them.
The game is a coverage game. You got to have physicality, but you also got to be able to have guys that can cover. And we feel like that he gives us that flexibility to do that stuff. He has a physical presence, but also he has good ball skills, and he can play in coverage for us.
Was he a special teams guy down there, or where do you see him fitting in there?
Yeah, we project him. Anything that we do as a staff and as a personnel department, we always create a vision for a player. And in this case, we feel like that he can come in and create competition at the safety position. He has versatility, can play free or strong for us, play the big nickel. But also, I think it's important as you build a championship team that that you take into consideration that they have special teams value. I think that's very important.
What kind of interaction did you guys have with him, if any?
We just got off the phone with him, let him know that we had selected him. But we have our personnel department. We've got a couple, Alonzo and Glenn Cook in Elliott obviously have connections down in Miami, so there's a lot of familiarity with him in our organization.
Visit or anything like that?
We didn't bring him in as our 30 visit, no, sir.
The fact that he used to be a corner, does that mean he's got a bigger, higher upside because he's still learning?
Well, I think anytime that you have a corner that's got that type of experience that converts over to safety, that obviously gives you the flexibility for coverage. It could be a matchup situation on the inside slot. It could be a tight end, but obviously that's a positive.
When you get into this third day of the draft, I mean, what are you really looking for?
Traits. You're looking for guys that, when you're building your 53-man roster, you're looking for positive traits that can help you build a championship team. This is where you make your roster. This is where you make the biggest impact of the draft as the second, third day, where you build the quality in the mid roster of your the mid level of your roster.
In terms of visits and watching film conversations, what all went into what you used to write your scouting report on him?
What
did you personally do? Where did you go? How much film did you watch? How many people did you talk to?
There's different stages. Right now we're in stage 5, which is the draft, but there's 4 stages, obviously, that are important in the process of our department. We extensive video evaluation, and obviously we put the personnel and the troops on the ground to go evaluate the players.
Did you see Taki and just sort of some of your impressions?
Taki's a tough son of a gun. I'm excited about having Taki just because of his physical presence and what he brings to this organization. And so, we obviously there's a lot of exposure that all of us in the personnel department got on all these players.
Other than the toughness, what else struck you about him?
He's intelligent. He comes from a good program. He's got some leadership traits. Those are important factors that we look for in the athletes. There's a lot of variables that go into the process, but obviously we felt really high about Taki and his presence and what he brings to the defense.
It seemed that some projections had him not going as high as you guys took him. Do you think you know more about him than another team?
If you like somebody, go get him. It's really what it is, and we felt comfortable with him, and irregardless, we feel like that he can come in and make an impact for our football team and compete.
I think you mentioned it a little bit, but one of the things I read about Redwine says he likes to hit. Is that obvious when you watch those?
Yeah, you're looking for dogs. You're looking for alphas on defense, and obviously, you can see what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a championship team. All of us have come from winning organizations from Green Bay to New York to New Orleans and Seattle with John in Kansas City. So we understand what it takes, and it takes a special person to get you over the hump.
Do you talk to the coordinators about players, in this case, Steve Wilkes, about the type of player that he's looking to fit into his defense?
Yeah, I mean, you communicate with everyone in the organization on both sides of the personnel and on the coaching side. So there's, we're going to draft and develop players. Our coaching staffs are a big part of that at the development stage and play them.
For you guys to go defense with your first 3 picks, is that a reflection of what you guys thought were the strengths of the draft?
Yeah, usually, historically, 2/3 of the draft is offensive personnel and 1/3 of it's defensive personnel. But for some reason this year, it kind of flipped. There was more defensive personnel that were available, and you kind of see that how things have unfolded. The board just comes down in pieces of layers of. And it's amazing to sit there and watch how things come to you. You got to be patient. You got to exercise caution, but you also got to be aggressive when you need somebody.
You're talking about the dogs and alphas you went on defense. Do these 3 guys? Is there a common thread that fits into that?
Absolutely, yeah, it sure does.
Is it like a?
It's a DNA.
mentality?
It's a DNA. It's just plain and simple. You're just looking for guys that love the game. They're passionate about the game. And that's the secret. That's the ingredients for success.
As an aside, Dorsey was director of college scouting for a good long time.
Yes, sir.
You guys can relate to. What kind of guy is he to work for? What makes him good at what he does?
Very diligent, very thorough, very detailed, demanding, perfectionist. I mean, all those descriptive adjectives. I mean, that's what I deal with on a daily basis with him. I mean, he's outstanding to work for. You learn a lot. You kind of just sit back and you learn. We obviously come from different organizations, but there's one common thread that we're looking for, and that's winning. We want to be.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Is this player, Redwine and Eric Murray, kind of competing for the same kind of role?
I think at this point we're just let's let the chips fall where they are and let them compete.
When you're talking about physicality, was that something you want to ramp up this season?
I mean, that's. I think we want to be a championship caliber organization and a football team. We want to put the best 53 guys on the roster and out on the football field, and it gives us the best chance to win. That's what we're here for, is to win championships. Our goal is obviously to win the division and then get into the playoffs and bring the Lombardi Trophy back home.
You're saying he's versatile and can do either safety position and even maybe nickel. But in Miami, what was his primary role?
He played free. He played free safety, but he's got versatility because he's played in the slot and the nickel also.
The Browns have so many new players, and obviously they all have to fit together. Does the scouting department talk a lot about, well, how is he going to fit with what we have? Or do you guys leave that to the coaches?
We work with the coaches on that. Obviously you've got experienced personnel people that understand schemes of what we're looking for, criteria. We sit down with the coaching staff. Obviously sat down with Freddie and his staff when they were all in place and sat down and really went into detail and discussion of what they were looking for. It didn't change the way that we went and evaluated players, but it kind of gave us a better idea of guys that fit our scheme. Are they a 4 down, or are they a 3 down, or are they a sub player, are they a nickel player, or are they a base down? I mean, so there's so many factors that go into a process of evaluating players.
How opinionated is Freddie in terms of
Outstanding.
What sorts of things will he tell you?
Well, I mean, anytime they're in the trenches, they understand the game is evolution. I mean, it's always constantly changing. So, 1 year you got the little slot guys, and next year you got big slots. So, I mean, the game is constantly changing. So you've got to be able to adapt with the game.
So you knew probably as a staff in September that this was going to be a defensive-heavy draft.
Yes, sir.
2/3, you said. So is the whole transaction season then handicapped with that in mind, starting with free agency?
Well, I think any good organization has an idea of future and upcoming drafts to prepare for that. So obviously, to answer your question, yes, there was some thought into that. We're sitting back and we're looking at the draft, and we're looking at the free agency and making decisions of where the resources need to be allocated.